Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Scott. We're here for episode 3. I'm here with Laura Lee and Anna. We are going to talk about what we did this weekend in Nashville. Laura Lee, what did we do?
So this weekend we actually went to Nashville. We got to go to the inauguration of our new governor, Bill Lee.
Some of us went,
yeah. Sorry, Anna.
It's okay.
If I'd known you wanted to go, I would have let you go.
Yeah, you could have come.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I just thought you might like a free weekend since we've kind of been going ever since we got back from California.
You're right.
That'd be a nice option.
Thank you.
Anyway, okay. So Scott and I went to Nashville, and let's see. I left Friday night. I think you did too.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning is when everything kind of kicked off, and so I guess Scott, you know.
So yeah, I left Friday afternoon, and it was raining all weekend, and I was super bummed that we were going to be outside in the cold and in the rain. But luckily, it got moved to indoors, where it was nice, warm, and dry.
Fairy gift.
Yeah, it was great. It was a little bit of an odd experience trying to get into the building because we went to where all the media vans were parked. We asked the security guard, is this where we go? And he said, yeah, just go in here. So we went in there, passed off to another security guard. He took us up an elevator, handed us off to another security guard, handed off to another security guard, and he's like, okay, go outside and turn around the corner. So we just basically made a giant loop back to where we started, and then we're able to go through security and get inside for the inauguration.
Where would it have been held if it weren't held inside?
If it hadn't rained, it would have actually just been outside on top of the legislative complex, kind of.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And you could actually see the chairs set up and everything like that when we were traipsing around in the rain trying to find where to go.
Earlier, you made it sound like it was going to be held like on top of a building, like a rooftop party or something.
Not a rooftop party.
Could you imagine, though?
So it's known amongst everyone that media people are kind of, I don't know, I feel like we all kind of fall into the same box sometimes. Not creatively, because we're all very different that way. But we all have this, there's like this stereotype out there of like, we're all dressed in black, you know, we have our cameras, we're kind of like a little shifty trying to figure out the situation.
We're all paparazzis.
Pretty much.
To be fair, I'm usually in black, but you made me wear red.
So we wore Cypress shirts. So.
Oh, you wore your Cypress shirts.
We looked so
That's
cute.
So nice.
Yeah. So Scott and I walked in, and everything really, it was, you know, it was kind of a little chaotic since it got moved indoors. So we're walking around, we found somebody with a volunteer tag. We're like, do you know where the media is supposed to be? He's like, no. So we eventually see some people in black, and I was like, they have media tags. So we ran over and we asked them, and they're like, yeah, this is it. We went in, and there was a Cypress Magazine spot that was reserved. So Scott and I got in there, got some donuts and coffee. Thank you so much, Bill Lee staff.
Yeah,
we love you.
Y'all always get donuts and coffee.
Yeah,
That's how we roll.
That fueled my day,
You know, donuts
until about
roll.
2 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
Donut roll.
Donut roll holes. It was really cool because the troopers walked over. There was a lot of state troopers that were there, and they were kind of guarding the media entrance, and they were so nice. But they came over and they're like, "Are those donuts?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm saving you some." He was like, "Great, you know, I love my donuts." So it was pretty fun to kind of kid around with some of the state troopers that were there. I don't know about Scott's experience, but since everything got moved indoors, again, it was very chaotic, and you know, we were kind of finding things out as we went. But we weren't supposed to have 2 photographers downstairs anymore. We were supposed to have 1, but our whole, like, I think half of our table didn't even show up. So I ended up going upstairs though, and ended up next to a state photographer, and he was very nice. He had a very long lens on his camera. I was so envious. We'll talk about lens envy in a second. Scott can kind of
I didn't even stay at the table. I wound up pacing the aisles and standing in front of the sound people.
Yep.
So,
which was cool.
Yeah. They had some impressive glass on their cameras. I was real jealous. They had probably 400 mil lenses, and I was with a little stock 70 to 200 mil lens. And
what's the difference between those types of lenses?
So mine's a cheap little kit lens that comes with the camera that it works. It gets you close, but mine's about, when you're at 200 millimeters, you're at about f6, and then they are at 400 millimeters, and they're able to be at f4.8. And the difference between that is they're able to get much closer and have more depth of field on their camera, so it looks like portrait mode on your iPhone is the best way I can think of to describe it. Is it's like he's on stage with his iPhone taking pictures of Bill Lee. And look like I'm in the 4th or 5th row taking pictures of Bill Lee with the Samsung flip phone.
Oh, dang.
But we still got some really good shots.
They turned out good.
So we got some good pictures. It was really dark in there.
It was dark. It was
dark.
We do have a clip of the speech that he gave, which I think was really well written. He delivered it amazingly. So we're going to play that for you now.
These last few months, I've thought an awful lot about Braxton Lee and about those first Tennesseans. I wonder what they told each other when they had to deal with their struggles. And I think a lot about who they were. They were strong and courageous, and they were faithful, and they were committed, and they were certain. They were Tennesseans. And I've also thought a lot about our descendants, 7 generations from now. What will they say of us? Were we strong and courageous? Were we faithful? Were we committed? Were we certain? Did we come together to meet the challenges that we face with courage and optimism and a belief in each other? If we meet the challenges of this moment, they too will say of us, they were Tennesseans. Thank you for this great honor. May God bless each one of you, and may God bless the great state of Tennessee. Thank you.
So I think that clip was really awesome, and I think the speech was very powerful. And I think it's not very often that you can really see a leader that they choose to be empathetic and kind and genuine over, kind of being political. And so I think, to me, that's like one of the most powerful things about Governor Lee going forward that I really hope to see blossom and kind of integrate into our,
He was definitely my favorite during the campaign commercials because he was just a nice guy. Like, I don't know much about his politics. I'm not as up to date as I should be, but he didn't talk poorly about anybody. He didn't, bash his opponents. He said good things about his opponents, and he just like, hey, I want to help. So if you want me, I'm here. And clearly Tennessee wanted him. So
yeah. I think that too, he really puts the focus on the people and Tennessee and not himself. And I know I got to hear him speak, and one of his opponents just got up there and just kind of talked about me. And then he got up and started talking about, how excited he was to be here and da-da-da-da. And then about other things about the event in the community. And he said at the end, oh, by the way, vote for me. Bye. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah. I like one of the first things he did when Bill Haslam, who's the former governor of Tennessee, introduced him. The first thing Bill Lee did was he thanked his wife. He was very grateful for her for being his rock and his supporter and being there with him through the whole thing. He made it very clear that it wasn't all about him. He shined the light on everybody else first.
For our July-August edition in 2018, I had to contact a whole bunch of different politicians and get statements from each of them to put into that particular issue of the magazine. And, some people had like small campaigns, and you could tell that the person you were talking for was the politician in some cases. And then in other cases, you had to go through several different offices just to get in contact with someone to try and get a statement from them. And then sometimes I never got a statement from them. And that was difficult, but it was always really nice talking to Bill Lee's campaign office because, the people there were very kind, and it was easy to get what we needed from them. And they seem like good people.
Definitely. And that was something that was very clear to me too, just throughout the entire event and the inaugural weekend. Let's talk a little bit about who else was there. So if you check out some of the footage and some of the pictures, you're going to see a lot of other people. So obviously,
I only recognized a few. I knew Bill Haslam. I knew David Kustoff.
Phil Bredesen was there.
I don't know what he looks like. Those are the only two I could recognize is Bill Haslam and Kustoff. So anyways, before we get into who all was there and get into political things, let's move on and talk about the rest of the weekend. That night, I think literally there was an inauguration ball that you went to?
So there's technically 2 inaugural balls. One of them is kind of like a dinner. It's where Governor Lee and his wife shared their first dance to Luke Bryan's song. I think Wynonna Judd was also there performing. And the second kind of inaugural ball was a little bit more open. There were a lot of people there. Just really good music. Obviously, there were some really good drinks and food. And they made an appearance. Governor Lee and Maria actually came out into the crowd and were just talking to people and then shaking hands, So that was really neat to see. And everyone was very, very excited and just, happy for the...
Yeah. Well, I was next door at what's the name of the
Predators.
arena there?
Oh.
The Bridgestone Arena, watching the Predators beat each other up. Not each other, the other team. They played Florida. Florida won, by the way. I didn't know Florida had a hockey team. They have 2, and they won.
Memphis used to have a hockey team, but it moved down to DeSoto.
Yeah, they're actually not playing this year. They don't have enough money.
Oh,
Yeah.
I moved to Mississippi.
Well, I was in a dress and heels, just walking around. It was lots of fun.
Yeah.
I was sitting at home when the power went out.
Oh yeah, you guys did get some snow and kind of some high winds, I guess, here.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I was doing a last day at the law firm and got the phone call that our power went out, and I went home because of the snow. So
Right.
roads were fine. We got less than an inch.
So yeah, y'all got snow and stuff here. We left the hockey game. I was just in jeans and t-shirt because I didn't think we were going to be outside for very long. But of course, we parked 3-4 blocks away. So I was walking back in sleet in jeans and a t-shirt. It was a miserable walk back to the car.
So let's talk about, let's say, Saturday. So let's talk about Sunday.
Sunday, I drove home.
Yeah, Scott was very exciting. So Sunday, we got to go see the Tennessee residence. And so that's where the governor lives during his term with his family. The first floor, they actually don't live on the first floor. They live on the second floor. So
I didn't know they had like a house that they lived in. I thought they just stayed at their own place.
Right.
Where is it?
So it's in Franklin, Tennessee. And actually, it was really neat. When Phil Bredesen was in office, they remodeled it. And they actually have out front, they have a place where you can have events, and it's underground. So that was really interesting. But we had to go to a secondary location. It was actually at the Tennessee Armory. And we had to go through security and load up on shuttles. And they shuttled us over to the residence. Then we got to go into the first floor. We got a little tour. Got to see, the residence.
Were there pictures of like past governors? Was Governor P? Was there a photo of him?
Yeah. So when we went in, there were a couple different photos. I think I didn't get up really close to it, but there were a couple like wedding photos of governors that had gotten married. And they had pictures that were at the residence. But there were some portraits and things like that as well in the dining room. So that was pretty cool.
Governor Austin P. was the first governor to build roads.
Yes.
Oh, because I had no idea who you're talking about.
He's
I guess
awesome,
that's
yeah.
the school named after. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
He had a pet donkey.
That's really awesome.
It's really weird.
That's very strange.
Was it a pet or was it a work animal?
He had a pet donkey, and it's buried on Austin P's campus. They built a building over it, and it's called the Red Barn.
Well, that's
All
creepy.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go eat.
But it was really cool kind of to be able to get through the residence. The Lee family has not moved in yet, so they live on the second floor, and they said that they haven't fully kind of transitioned and moved in yet, but they did have some photos and things downstairs. They had Governor Lee's office was set up, but we waited in line, and we got to shake hands and talk to the governor and his wife, and just say hello, and then that was pretty much it. So we got on a shuttle and went back.
It's so exhausting. Yeah, I thought they just lived in their own house. They got to move house and then move back.
No, it's a bit like the White House.
Well, yeah, but that. Well, let's say being governor's not
they
important,
already
but it's a
kinda
little
live-
bit a bigger deal.
Yeah, and they live pretty close. Like it's not like they're coming from like West Tennessee, So I mean, but yeah, they live on a farm, I think, in Middle Tennessee. It's actually outside of Franklin, I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what.
So that's just annoying. That's just you got to pick up and move down the street.
Yep. But that was pretty cool. So after Luciana and I left from seeing their residence, we actually headed to go home, but we saw a sign for a winery. And if you've read the magazine, you know that we cover wineries in the magazine. So we stopped at Grinders Switch, and that was actually really neat. We did a tasting, and their tastings were free, and they had a ton of wines. So they had a really good raspberry wine. So that was a really nice like dessert wine. They made a port, which is very strange for a winery, especially around here, to actually make a port. It was delicious.
I don't know what any of those words mean. I am not a big wine person. I just like white wine because it's sweet and tastes like candy. So,
but that was actually really neat to taste all those different wines. So be on the lookout for that in one of our upcoming magazines.
Ooh,
yeah, and
that's
you drive
cool.
all the way back up to Nashville to get pictures.
I'll go with
Did I
you
say
to that
you were
one.
going? No, hey, it was really good though. But it was really cute though because it was so there was snow on the ground. It was like this really cute like log cabin. It was in the woods, and it was just so nice and quiet.
That makes me think of the Sam Bryant moonshine.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because it's like off on a farm and
I think that kind of wraps my part of Sunday up. I know Scott probably.
I just drove home. Sunday night was my big event. I stayed up and watched the lunar eclipse happen.
the super blood wolf moon.
I don't know. It turned red.
It was red.
I was
It was
outside
cool.
for probably 2 hours in the freezing cold, getting wet, waiting for this to happen. I expected it to happen much quicker than it did. I figured it'd be like an hour long, 30 minutes, something like that. But it took forever for the entirety of it to happen. So I got lots of pictures of it through its phases. But I got one and I sent it to Anna and posted it on Facebook and Instagram. And I thought it might get a few likes, but it actually got as many likes as some of the stuff we posted while we were in California,
It did.
which surprised me.
Within an hour, I think it had 75 likes, comments, reactions, stuff like that. And that's only an hour. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, and see, on mine, I posted it. I got like 5. So I'm glad
that's
everyone that likes our magazine likes our pictures too. That makes
It makes me happy.
It makes me and our other photographer Nathan feel great that you guys like what we do when we spend so much time getting pictures together and edited. It's nice to see the payoff.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's really awesome that you guys did that though too. That was.
I was super surprised when Scott texted me the photo. It was a really good picture, and I was very happy to post it.
That's awesome. So today's Tuesday, and so I think yesterday I was actually sick, and I think you guys went home
We left early, yeah.
Yeah, to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
I did a whole lot of nothing. I went home and took a nap for a few hours because my wife was out of the house. So I slept, had a nap. The dogs were napping next to me. I got up. I went, hung out in the garage, made a gift for a friend. She's having a baby, so I made her a little toy for their baby. But yeah, it was a real lazy day. I was real excited that Lucienne told us to go home.
I was planning to watch some Netflix, but then I fell asleep too. So, lazy day.
I wasn't planning. I just went to bed.
I was asleep all day because I was sick, so I know I worked a little bit. But so in my very hands, right this second, I have one of our January, February magazines. They just came off the truck. And if you haven't seen it, on the cover, we actually have the field commander of the Munford High School marching band. That's their silhouette on the cover.
One of the field commanders. They have 3. I'm not sure. I don't know their names, but this is the one that is on the 50-yard line.
Yeah, she's the main one.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that they had 3.
But yeah, we covered a lot of Mumford Band. We talked about in previous podcasts, and as you guys have seen on our Instagram and Facebook, we went to California with them, and all of this is in this issue. So this is a great issue for Mumford Band parents to take cut pages out and frame it, because your kid's probably in it.
There are lots and lots of photos, and if you are in Mumford and looking for a copy, Mumford City Hall got 135, 9 bundles of 15. So if you're looking for somewhere to go to Mumford City Hall.
And by the time this comes out, they should be just about everywhere they usually are.
The best places to find them, though, are usually Naples and Munford, as well as Covington, and all the Fast Times have them, and as well as any advertiser that's in the magazine. And if you're listening to this, please support our advertisers. They really support us and our livelihood and what we do for the community. So if you have a magazine, you see an ad, please go and please support them.
Yeah, because as you know, it's free, the magazine. So without our advertisers, we wouldn't be able to bring this content to you. So go check them out, give them some love, buy something from them, get something made by them. Yeah.
And if you do subscribe to the magazine, the money you're paying towards that really goes towards shipping the magazine to you.
Let's talk about that for just a second. So I know we're trying to wrap up this podcast, but we charge $50 a year for for a subscription for the magazine, and we literally pay like $3 a month in shipping. And if it's like a 132 page magazine, we actually pay more. I think it's almost like $7, something like that. So we really aren't making money on subscriptions right now, but if we can get over a certain hump, we can get our mailing costs reduced. So that's something we're really working towards. And so if you're listening to this, go to the website, cypressmag.com, look for the subscribe button, and then you can subscribe.
The more of you that there are, the cheaper it'll be. So please do what Lauralee said. Subscribe. It'll be great. Also, what you can do to help us out even more, subscribe to the podcast, our YouTube channel, like and follow us on Facebook, because the more of you there are, the more likes, comments we get, the further we'll go in the charts, the more people will see us, like us, and be able to support us, which means we'll bring more content to you guys. And that being said, I think I'm about out of things to talk about.
Yep.
So we will see you guys next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.